All right, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about the media and politics and all kinds of interesting topics right here on the Real Media Observer. Thanks for being here. And of course, doing it in real time for people like you and people like me. All right, so the Canadian truckers, it didn't take long for the media to begin to say things about the Canadian truckers that aren't true. And I will cover some of those things here. There's this article that comes from thespec.com. Washington, no one has celebrated as loudly as the American political right watching the Freedom Convoy. And of course, they have to put it in little quotation marks. See, folks, this is why, as much as I want to try to see all sides of the issue here, and there aren't really two sides to this story. This is basically about freedom. This is about people taking control of their life, taking control of their bodily autonomy, wanting to do the things that they used to do again. I mean, we've spent 2 years here, and some people protest this really loudly. And the people who protest, like what? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Naomi Wolf, right? I'll give you two really good examples. Those people are so on the political right. Not. There are a few good progressive type people out there who understand that you really can't have any discourse if you can't have real communication, right? So Donald Trump supported the truckers, or has expressed support, and Governor Ron DeSantis, oh no. And their GoFundMe was destroyed. So DeSantis said, hey, that's not fair, which it isn't, okay? I don't care where you are in the political spectrum. If this isn't inspiring to you, then I think maybe you don't understand human freedom and basic human rights. These people want their human rights back. And Canadians really did acquiesce for 2 years. They listened and they obeyed. I heard one commentator say something like, well, you know, those Canadians, they're very obedient people. I don't understand what happened. So they're basically admitting that they use obedient populations to get what they want done. They want to impose tyranny. They look to obedient populations. And for generations, both America and Canada, and leave it to Canada here to start the revolution. And then the Americans are all, okay, me too. We want to do this too, which is excellent. I'm not putting that down. I'm just saying that I'm just giving you an example as to how we've also been, I don't know, duped into thinking that government has all this control and power when they don't. It's written into the documents that they don't. The Canadian Charter, nope. The government does not have all of this authority. And of course, our Constitution and Bill of Rights here in the United States, which has been trampled on now for at least a generation, probably 2 generations. And, you know, you can throw all kinds of different things at this, like the Patriot Act, where there were a lot of people on the right who were like, yes. And, you know, a lot of us listened to our government at the time and thought, well, yeah, they have weapons of mass destruction, so we need to do something. And something like 88% of the people were for doing that. They were for it because you can use propaganda and you can just repeat the same lies over and over again, and people begin to believe it. And they don't want to look like they're not patriotic. Remember the freedom fries? Got to get some freedom fries. Anyway, what's interesting is that the people who write these articles don't think it's a bad thing. For instance, that the GoFundMe account gets shut down. And now they're on Give, Send, Go. And I heard that they tried to confiscate that somehow. I mean, the banking issue is really a linchpin, because as soon as you can't bank, as soon as you can't transfer funds, it gets really hard. I mean, you could still do it. You could still find ways to do it. You know, you can get the money there directly somehow. You could probably get a, you know, prepaid debit card and, you know, load it up and then find a way to get it to wherever it needs to go. I think there is resourcefulness on both sides of this. And it's scary that the people who are the oligarchs, who are controlling the narrative, who have all the power really, and then they become very resourceful criminals, basically. And they find ways to obfuscate or essentially just throw a wrench into what is happening here. Another claim that continues to resonate out there in the media, the mainstream part of this media, is that these people are bigots, they're racists, they're white supremacists, they're all these things. And it's just not true. I watched hours worth of coverage, and it really inspired me to jump on this channel and to talk about this issue, because I was looking at these people and I'm thinking to myself, these are really good people. These people are more courageous than most, including yours truly. I mean, they're out there doing things. They're doing the hard things. Whereas I talk about things, they're doing the hard things. And, you know, a couple of people reached out and thanked me for covering this. But it's getting a ton of live coverage. You've got guys walking around. I talked about Viva Frei, and I mispronounced. I said, I think Viva Free, but it's actually Viva Frei. And he's walking around. He's the guy with the amazing hair, walks around. And he's also a lawyer as well, and an organizer, hangs out with Robert Barnes. I mean, you're talking about a real smart guy, but you just sense that this is a movement where there's love. There isn't hate. This isn't like a transient moment either in our history, in the sense that this will be a one-off thing. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to snowball. And that's an appropriate term, because I've been watching the weather up there, and it's brutal. They're out there in 10-degree weather yesterday, and they're joyful warriors. These are just good people. And the way the media is portraying this, and, you know, it's all about those in authority, like they're the smart ones and we can't question it. We can't be skeptical of what they want to do. For 2 years, we went along with this stuff. And because people they say, well, a lot of people on the right like this movement, but the people on the left don't. Well, what does that tell you about the people on the left? Folks, there used to be left-wingers out there that used to question things. Like, you remember the Pentagon Papers, reading it into the record? Remember that kind of stuff? Those are people. See, the people on the left back in the 60s and 70s, and I don't know how recently, there were some on the left that opposed Bush and his whole weapons of mass destruction, hide and seek type thing. But they did it more for political reasons, I believe, because then, you know, Obama takes over for Bush and he's got his own wars going on. And then, you know, Trump came in and maybe he tampered with that to some degree, but realized, and I'm not saying Trump is completely innocent here, but this is so entrenched, and there needs to be a populist uprising to untrench the war machine, to untrench all of these things. And I'm making up words here because I don't think untrench is a word, but these are status quo accepted realities, and people just go along with it. They're like, okay, it's fine. We just have to do this. It's like the Ukraine narrative with Russia. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard, by the way, been on with Tucker Carlson a lot lately. And she just torches this because she knows she's on the inside, she's in the military. So she knows what these people are all about. And she's up there saying, no, this is something that's truly, truly dangerous. And yeah, people say, well, Putin is dangerous. And I go, yeah, Putin's dangerous. And is Biden dangerous too? I would say Biden is more dangerous. So if you're going to tell me who's dangerous, do I worry about Vladimir Putin? Maybe a little bit. But I think when you do all of this provocation for so long, it becomes almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you've been talking about it for so long, and it's almost as if you want it to happen. And that's what Tulsi Gabbard said. She said, hey, I think, these guys want Putin to do something. So they have, again, a pretext for war, because it's going to rally the country. We're all going to be patriotic and grab some freedom fries. Meanwhile, there is a freedom convoy going on, which is true, real freedom. See, this is how warped the government is pretty much globally, where they look at a moment where real patriotism and love of country. Have you seen all of the Canadian flags everywhere? It's makes me want to like wear one. And I'm from the United States. It's not my home country. I don't sing the Canadian national anthem. I do love the words in that anthem. And these are just good people. Like I keep saying it over and over again, but these people have come out of their slumber, because I think most of them were live and let live type people. And like, okay, you want to do all this crazy stuff over here? You can do it so long as you leave me alone. But, when it comes to mandates, and this is about the mandates, this is about the never ending lockdowns. This is about the government telling you what to put into your body in order for you to have a job or to go into a restaurant. So you're not going to be able to enjoy society anymore unless you follow our edicts. These aren't laws. Mandates aren't laws. Edicts, decrees, orders, health department says, none of those things are laws. They might be suggestions. And if you want to follow them, you can follow them. And a lot of people did. And I think there's a good increasing level of regret out there for just blindly following without all the information. This is why informed consent is a very important issue that nobody seems to want to talk about it. But yeah, Ted Cruz likes this. Marjorie Taylor Greene likes this. So these are all the crazy right-wingers that like it. I'm sure every libertarian who's not in the DC Beltway loves this. This is, truckers, really? So you're going to, and it's amazing that they're trying to vilify truck drivers who make the supply chain possible. And that's why they're so worried about the bridge that's going from Detroit up to, was it Toronto, or just, into Canada itself, the Ambassador Bridge, because, oh no, the supply chain. Look, this administration, the current administration here in the United States, has done far more to disrupt the supply chain than the truckers have. Now, is this kind of like holding the government hostage a little bit? Yeah, it's actually kind of refreshing, because between the courts and then the political process, and then just petitioning the people who are in charge, none of those things are working. And you get totally black pilled after a while, and you're like, okay, none of this works anyway, so why should I even do it? And the truckers, I think, probably recognized some of that, said, well, here's what we can do. Politics isn't working, courts aren't working, let's just do an old-fashioned strike. Because that's what this really is. It's a strike. It's like, we're going on strike. We want better working conditions. We don't want mandates. We want freedom. We want to be able to go to restaurants, or we want to be able to travel where we want to travel. We don't want our personal information, our medical privacy shared with the world. That's not what the government is supposed to be doing. They're all, in some countries, they're talking about, we need to get rid of the QR codes. We need to stop this. folks, they've already got most of the information that they need. All you need to do is every so often do this again, have a crisis and then say, well, if you want to keep your freedom, then submit to us and give us all your data, right? And I get it. We're in an information age. Data is easily harvested and shared. And they want to use this too against their political opponents. That's part of all this. And I don't know if we can get back what we've lost, but maybe we can at least slow it down and curtail it, and then maybe get different governments elected. Now, this notion that, there are people who were once very not right wing, and those people, what they do with those people is they say, well, they've lost their minds. We can't say they're right wing, but they're completely, they've just, gone to the funny farm, and that's their explanation for it. They can't, reconcile how Naomi Wolf or Robert F. Kennedy Jr. could fall into such a trance, and then maybe it should be their version of that mass formation stuff that they get so just apoplectic about. They just are sitting there going, that doesn't exist. Psychology does not exist. Stop it. Anyway, folks, the truckers, they're doing God's work. That's all I can tell you. And if you can support the truckers somehow and have your money actually get to the truckers, I think a lot of us now are a little concerned about these fundraising organizations and if the money is actually going to get where it needs to go. But these are good people. I keep saying it. It's like the third or fourth time I've said it in this video. And I know it's very repetitive, but right now we need to be supporting the people who are trying at the very if this isn't grassroots, I don't know what else is. If this isn't decentralizing power and really just saying, okay, you step over this line, go ahead, if we dare you to step over this line. Now, some people say, well, this isn't going to work. Eventually, they're going to send the military in. And they're doing it in France, by the way, right now. Scary, dark pictures, and dark, I mean, not like fully developed pictures. I mean, stuff from, it looks very 1940 something. That's all I can say. And this is madness. And you would think the French government would have learned the lessons of history, but they are going after dissenters in a way which I think is going to shock the world if those pictures get around. Of course, your local media isn't going to share that with you. They're going to pretend there's nothing to see over here. That's all they can do is omit. And reporting by omission is not reporting. It's trying to put you in a lane, in a box over here, where you're going to just continue to watch that, and you're not going to pay any attention to the real issues of the day. And you're not going to feel any camaraderie with those people who are truly suffering for their freedoms. Freedom is not a right-wing concept. It's just a concept, okay? It's like, do you want to be free, or do you not want to be free? Do you want to be in a jail somewhere, right? And whether it's a physical prison, a mental prison, a partial prison where you do some things and it's conditional and you get out, that's up to you. It's up to all of us. What are we going to do with this? Are we going to move forward, or are we going to sit here and just, be keyboard warriors all day? By the way, I'm not saying that your impact on social media can't influence people, but we're kind of getting past that, and we got to, put some feet to those posts and these videos, and yeah, get involved. If you can get involved somewhere in your community, or if you can help those truckers somehow financially, you live near the Canadian border and you want to do something, there are probably ways, there are probably groups that are organized off the regular social media like Telegram and Getter You do need free speech platforms. You do need to get off of Twitter. Twitter is a cesspool. Facebook is a cesspool. And you're not going to meet like-minded people who truly want to start a peaceful revolution. And I emphasize the word peaceful. All right. So anyway, these truckers absolutely rock. And they're not all the things. Go watch some of the coverage. I mean, before I sign off, I watched the coverage for a long time. I saw Jamaican people. I saw LGBT people. I saw both, obviously, men and women. I saw Asian people. I saw African Americans. I mean, truly all walks of life. I think I saw a rainbow Canadian flag at one point, and these are people who were supporting the truckers. And look, I don't really care about that stuff. I don't care about your gender or your orientation or all of it. Those things to me at this stage are irrelevant, other than the fact that, you know, they define you to some degree. But right now, it's almost like that's a secondary battle for people. The first battle now is the ability to speak freely, the ability to move freely, the ability to freely associate with the people that you want to associate with, and get the government off of everybody's back. You want to see this economy roar back to life, both here in the States and in Canada? Get the mandates removed. Get them out of there. No more talk of this stuff, because even the talk of this stuff is toxic to your mind. And despite what certain publications have been saying as of late, psychology is a real thing. Otherwise, soldiers wouldn't come back from war with PTSD. And people, women who've been, I guess, used by human traffickers, their lives wouldn't be damaged the way they're damaged if psychology wasn't a real thing, because, you know, you could just take that thought captive and just cast it out. But those kinds of thoughts, extremely hard to forget, and those things will influence you for the rest of your life. So in any event, go truckers, right? Go Canada. Go Leafs. You're a Maple Leafs fan. This is some cool stuff to watch, and these people are doing protesting right. Let's just put it that way. There are no buildings burning. It's not fiery but peaceful. It's just peaceful, again, unless you look at a little bonfire here or there. They're not trying to burn businesses down. They're not doing any of the things we saw in the summer of 2020. This is all real salt of the earth people. At one point, I think there were a number of castle bouncy houses for kids, and there are barbecues set up all over the place. Oh, there's fireworks that they're setting off. I know it's very disruptive to the Canadian population to see fireworks, but you know what? I think it's a necessary evil to get this job done. All right, I'm done. I promise I'll be back. Thanks for watching. By the way, thanks for all the new subscribers. All of a sudden, things are looking up. I think it's the new direction, the new focus, and more content. I'm going to try to keep content coming almost every day on this channel. So tune in and see what I'm going to say next, because you never know what I'm going to say. Sometimes I say some really stupid stuff, and I apologize for that in advance.